Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Any other?
Okay, we had a question from Achilles who says, "Good day, Professor." It says, Omar M. Yaghi of the UC Berkeley won this year's Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Mr. Keshe deliberately mentioned Professor Yaghi's work on MOF materials in the GANs materials chapter of the second book. Could this serve as an opportunity for people to further realize and recognize the implication and application of GANs materials? Thank you.
What?
Have you mentioned Professor Yaghi, Y-A-G-H-I, in the second book, perhaps, with the GANs materials chapter? I don't know. I'd have to look it up or search it somehow. Does that not ring a bell? He apparently won this year's Nobel Prize in Chemistry for well, I'm not sure exactly. I guess for nanomaterials of some sort. And he's saying that is this an opportunity for people to further recognize the application of the GANs materials, because this...
The application, the GANs material at the moment is sitting to be recognized as a new material, a new matter state. There's been a battle to be set. It's, I can't remember, so I have to, if anybody's got a book, go back onto it and tell us where it is, then we have a look at it. The book is written nearly 15, 18 years ago.
Hassan puts in the chat page 56 and 55 of book 2, so I can maybe have a look at that, but we may not have time. Maybe we can deal with that next week. Would be interesting.
Yeah. Any other question?
Well, I was just perusing my book 2, The Structure of the Light, which is a little kind of tattered over the years. The pages are falling out from opening it many times. But you do actually mention Dr. Omar M. Yaghi of the University of California. It was due to a paper that was done back in 2009, which he mentions metal organic frameworks, which are MOFs, material promise of carbon capture and release, and that these materials, being crystalline sponge hybrid lattices of organic compound and metal atoms, has been a huge internal area where gas molecules can be absorbed. And you talk about this in a little bit further. And in the paper, Dr. Yagi states MOF used in the study contain magnetism atoms. And then you go on and explain about that. And it's, you mentioned the doctor a couple of other times as well here. And it's pretty much a full comparison and report. And it's funny because Hassan had recommended page 55 and 56, which in my book did not compute. It wasn't there. I couldn't find it. And by accident, I looked in the back index, and there the name was Omar M. Yaki on page 77. I went, what? My jaw dropped. I went, what? Okay, so Dr. Yagi has gone on to get the Nobel Prize, and Mr. Keshe, on the other hand, is still waiting for that one. You certainly deserve it for on many accounts, many different Nobel Prizes, actually, including peace and in science and probably several other categories.
As you know, one of the things we were nominated for Nobel Prize when we went to the meeting. I'm sure Knowledge Seeker who was with me, the doctor can tell you. The professors were told, if you attend a meeting for this, you lose your professorship, and a couple of them resigned from Dutch universities because of this. You got to understand that in many, many theses, we have copies of some of these theses. The authors of the thesis for PhDs or research have mentioned that the technology base comes from Keshe Foundation and MT Keshe, and they've been told if you use that, your research will not be accepted. You have to delete it. So it's a credit to humanity. That's not the problem. If we were after fame and name, we would have put a patent in and fought everyone in every corner for every time they use something. We'll explain this in the time to come. The biggest, I'm reading this, it's been posted here. The biggest beauty with this technology, with this structure is the creation of the what we call systems that will be dynamic in structure of the process of creation. What this means is systems which have no dimensions but emotion and create their own structure. And this will come very, 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 very soon. Well, but what this means, it means chip blocks, or what we call like microchips of today, but in a way with no wiring and no components, made by energy. Maybe we are 2 years away from it. I wrote to one of the major producers of the microchip systems very recently, past few days in Europe, that if they can produce the system for this, and the system will change a lot of things, which means making computers which are very much a copy of the brain of the man. We don't have resistance transistors, but we have such a huge memory bank and reaction, and then converts the emotion into motion of the physical running of sorting and the rest of it. And we have developed this technology now. Very soon it will be added to. And then the biggest problem will be for the scientists, if that system on its own can create its own, what I call magnetic field, and create its own structure and physicality. We make the soul and the brain, and then that decides how we look. We're I think about 2 years, 3 years away from to do it. Another question.
Well, I did chase down the Nobel Prize here, and it is for this year, and Omar Yaghi, it mentions here, is one of the 3 that received it for the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. And it's about this metal organic frameworks, which are used to harvest water from desert air, capture carbon dioxide, store toxic gases, or catalyze chemical reactions. And all of this was explained back in, when was this book done? I think it was 2008 or something like that. And where you explain for a couple of pages, referencing directly Dr. Yaghi's work back then with the MOF substances, and you itemize the improvements that you have with your system over his system. And here he is 10 years later, has gone on to get the Nobel Prize. It's quite interesting, I think. And it's very important, of course. So if only they would have listened to you 10 years ago, they probably could have launched a little faster, but they're getting there. Sounds like the scientific community has now discovered GANs.
We have to see what comes up. We'll see. It's not discovered, it's used. It's something which is used by in different ways. Is the fear of the knowledge at the moment. And too many, what we call rogue scientists and the governments have got hold of, and they do. And it's the way it is. So any other question?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 613th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be your host once again in this weekly series of workshops ongoing for 12 years, I believe, 11 years, something. And now we have once again Mr. Mehran Keshe present with us to describe the new plasma technology and some of the things the Keshe Foundation is active in as well. So, Mr. Keshe, if you'd like to go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Good day. Good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to a series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back as usual, and as we said, we'll start something new this week. But before we do, I would like to go back into some things which we talked about it a couple of teachings ago, and now scientifically we've seen it to be proven to be there, and it's good for your knowledge seekers to know what is going to be the next step for humanity. I've asked Rick to take out a specific section of 611 out that he will play, and then I'll tell you the reason why and how close man is to what is about to come. And this is 2 weeks ago when 3I was heading towards Mars and the Sun. And around about 20th and 19th, 2 or 3 days ago, it disappeared behind the, what you call, the Sun, from the view of the Earth. We don't see it. The world of science doesn't understand what's happening behind it, but we would like to play this section, which is 1 hour and 5 minutes into the teaching of 611 for about 10 minutes. And then we come back and I explain to you exactly what it is, what we have seen, and what scientific world has reported in past 48 hours. And then, as we told you what's going to be seen, you'll see what is going to happen to humanity, hopefully in the next few weeks. Would you like to play this part of the teaching 2 weeks back?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Just bear with me a second here. Some jumper cables on my video. Let's go to our question in the webinar chat here from Nugent, who says, hello, Mr. Keshe. In the 610th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, that would be the last one, Mr. Keshe once said the two ships, 3I Atlas and Swan R2, will meet behind the Sun as seen from Earth. They will mate with each other to create a new race in the solar system. At the time of mating, a flash of light will appear whose intensity will be stronger than the sunlight at that time. According to my logical deduction, it is very likely that a very strong magnetic field storm pulse will appear to blow to Earth. And it is also possible that it will trigger the Sun to create a secondary magnetic field storm that blows to Earth afterwards. I have a question. Mr. Keshe, can this happen? If it happens, besides causing damage to the artificial satellites orbiting the Earth, can it cause other natural disasters? For example, the reactivation of the volcanic belt or earthquakes in the geographical fault zones? Thank you very much.
Not really, because first of all, the interaction of these magnetic fields in the plasma condition are very, very subtle. And they are not the storms, they are the feeders. They are at the lower strength, much, much lower strength. And they only reactions, if we see from the other side, it'll be like a secondary aurora around the sun. If there's going to be a massive interaction, the interaction of the new fields should create a secondary ring on top of the what we see as the image of the sun. What does actually this mean? What we should see if such a what we call extension of the fields, what we should see theoretically is that we have the sun like this. And if these two objects, magnetic field-wise, interact with each other on the backside of the what we call the sun, us as observers on this side, as a human being or a technologist, should see some sort of different radiation fields of different color, depending on different strength around the sun. This is because these two fields will interact with the magnetic field of the sun, being of the same, will create maybe like a rainbow effect, but the cosmic ray. We need special systems to be able to see this. It might be seen with the naked eye, it might not be seen with the naked eye, but as the fields come, you say you might interact with us. It won't be, it's not as a big bang. It's more or less as a rubbing off. They release, and the release of the magnetic field of the two together will create such an effect. If we see such an effect around the sun in the next 2 or 3 months, we know the order of the magnitude by the color. We got to understand that these fields are extremely powerful, but extremely low. They work on the magnetical gravitational field strength of the absorption than interaction. What does this mean? They use as a feedback. In a way, you can absorb everything. When we saw, for example, the 3i receiving massive surge of fields from the sun a few days ago, a couple of weeks ago, and then it went to what we call magnetic field silence, where it cannot be seen, and then we saw a number of satellites coming from it. The world of science says they can't understand whatever, but you have to understand, we explained this before, that this absorption is not to the physical structure. This absorption, this field, is directly to the center. And you can hold to as much as when you have a black hole in the center of the system. This black hole has called upon this ray, not the ray coming to it. So it has the capacity, and it can take as much as we see lightning hits a tree and the tree explodes. into pieces. This thing needed this energy to be able to release, to charge up, to release what was from it, for them to go. In a way, it needed the charging, topping up, and then going on. This energy which was absorbed, some of it will interact in this area, and then that interaction in turn will become like this. I explained this to a knowledge seeker in a very funny way, is that it's like the shedding of the wall of the womb. You need to receive the energy for it to become energized, that the next cycle of children or the egg or the sperm can come in or be produced to go on. And this is what that lighting was. And we see this lighting. What we saw on Mars was a very direct effect, where we seen unusual storms on the surface of this Mars while this was passing. Two things. Was the storm due to, they say it's about 29 million kilometers away, or we had a landing from the space that it created that storm? There are a number of things which is depth obscured, but man has to be ready to understand it. This interaction will not give us a massive bang and a flare it's going to start. No. This interaction between the 3I and the 2R or R2 will release energy that we will see in what we call, if we see the rainbow around the back of the sun in interaction with the field of the sun, then we know they met. Then, for sure, we have met, we have seen a galactic system, a system from the universe, fully controlled, intelligent, and according to what it's supposed to do. It's like putting a fertilizer on the land for it to give life. It's very much, I said before, it's like we see the red flowers, where we see came out during the World War I across the plains of France. The poppies, they were there for hundreds of years. The receipt of the energies of the bombs and material which brought the land to be energized, the poppies came out. And this is that kind of energy. Everything is there. They have seeded it. They have brought in, and that energy will start a cycle. It's not a destruction field. It's the field of life. And we see it. Forces confirm it. That energy is going through the water into the center of the earth. That's an exact time lapse as in the 3I. In the next maybe a week, 2 weeks, we will be testing the system. I expect interference in a certain magnetic field bandwidth across certain part of the planet, but it's a good bandwidth. It's not a bad bandwidth. It's something that will bring, it's the beginning test of the feeding the universe. We are in that process, and more or less in the second phase of this process. What we've seen with 3I will be replicated most probably if we get a chance to complete it for October session of the Fridays, the last Friday of this month, which will bring it, hopefully it'll be ready to show. But don't expect a huge Big Bang. These are the plasmatic, they are the matter state to create that Big Bang. They will change the soul, they will bring enlightenment. They bring energies which is in the dimension of emotion and time. And they start and they create a new time. Any other question?
I had a question. You mentioned the interaction with the fields of this object with the oceans and so on. And I understand that the object like the 3I Atlas is giving off enormous amounts of water. And I was thinking, well, it's spreading its water, whatever, from wherever it came from, throughout the entire solar system, basically. And they say that it's putting off so much water is unusual because it probably hasn't been to other star systems that would have burned off the water, basically.
No, this is the lack of knowledge, lack of understanding. Anything produced by the systems like this is produced by the interaction of these fields with the field of the environment. Nothing to do what they carried before, because they don't understand. They have to come up. Earth is the center of the universe. Because we didn't understand it, we're actually part of a bit of a nothing. And this is the process. The material produced by systems like this is from the interaction of the central cores with the environmental reaction. And our solar system has a beauty of creating liquid. This is one of the parts of its structure. The magnetic field of the sun is positioned in the galaxy. The compression of the other solar systems around it forces that this solar system creates liquid. And if you have it in certain fields, it creates water. We call it water, or we call it vapor. Thank you very much. The reason I brought this up is that, as you know, we got knowledge seekers going everywhere and searching everything, and we search the spectrum of the knowledge is getting spread about this system. And interesting is that in past 48 hours, space agencies and organizations which are involved in this game are reporting exactly what we said that might happen when the system goes in the back and you see it. The interaction between the two systems has happened. We've seen the flares, and is much, much more powerful than we could say. We see these flares. This is the dot in the middle, the white dot is the sun. And then there's the filter, and you see the expansion of it. This happened more or less within hours after 3I went behind the sun. And this is simultaneously when the East Coast of the United States ran into a problem with the internet and the rest of it. They got the tip of these fields come in direction of the Earth. When you look at this picture and what we explain, we're going to see is exactly what has happened. This tells us one thing. Or you can come to two conclusions, one or the other. the solar system is set for a new life. The energy released due to its proximity to the sun will stay within the solar system. We have to see which planetary system was on the other side. When you add it up together, if this event would have been on this side, if you go back on the pictures, Rick, if you can take the pictures of the drawing I put on this next to each other, that we can compare. Then I'll show you another one. And this is the very exact one. This happened exactly when the two systems met behind, as I discussed in the teaching of 611. This field will create new dimension of life in the planetary system which we're facing it. Absorption of fields, creation of new life. But this has a beauty if you understand, if one understands this, and that is this rendezvous, as I explained before, was pre-planned. We might see a second one. I know if the second one is about to come. We might see a second or a third one either. Whoever is behind this structure, this interactions, is a caring team, a caring group, a caring race. They're aware of the power they release in their interaction. And whatever set up was to be away from the earth where there is a confirmed life, that it will not get endangered. If this flare, if the interaction of the two systems and closeness of the 3i to the sun was taking place on our side, we would have not been here today to speak. We've seen the performance from this system past months. We observed it, and everything it does is against the law of the matter physics, but everything it does is within the law of the energy of matter. Our scientists are matter energy, and we are energy matter, and everything here, every single picture comes from this system, confirms one after another intelligence, life, care, love, and more and more and more. When they plan this interaction, they were after life on this planet. And a caring life, not to damage. But the beauty of it is, in the next few weeks, we move to the side and we meet with this system. Energized to a specific level, and for sure, if we are lucky, if we don't run out of luck, if what we hear is consistent with what you've seen and the communication systems and the rest of it, all of us will have the pleasure to meet the universal community. And if it doesn't happen, we have to wait and see what is going to be the next step. We will come across the energies of the universal community. We feel it as emotion, and we might feel it as a direct contact, physical manifestation. Physical manifestation is possible because we've seen the prelude, the pre-performance on the Mars. This system is fully aware of every position, dimension, thinking of world leaders, the citizens of this planet, and knows exactly how to behave. And we receive warnings. We know that for the first time, maybe if we are lucky, we'll encounter together, not to be the guesses of the Egyptians. Did the knowledge come from somewhere? The others claiming that they are the first and the rest. But we, with the new communication system, we all have, if we don't get damaged because of the higher strength magnetic field of the system, to be accepted into the universal community. I explained on the right-hand picture what is to come. On the left-hand picture, some 12, 14 days later, scientific pictures confirms. And what we see is exactly what was supposed to happen. And you see what I do with the picture of the, what we call aurora, you see on this one is much more profound in the same side. This is not a magic, it's understanding the science. North Pole should release more energy to be able to keep the balance of the rotation without damage. But one point, what do you see from the center of the white dot to the edge of the black, where you see the, what we call the aurora, or the extension of the light, is millions of kilometers. Hundreds of thousands of kilometers. This is how much expanded. It means the system, 3i, with the swan, have the capability, and they have within their power to get the star dancing. We've seen when meteorites or whatever come into inside Earth atmospheric condition, what lighting you see. But these guys are playing on the energy level. They're playing it on this way that creates life, doesn't destroy life. They chose the other side of the sun to protect the humanity. Otherwise, they could have put a show for you on this side. They're aware of every possible damage it could do. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but if I'm right, mankind is ready to do what we said, fulfillment of our promise, taking man to the universal community. Man will meet, man will touch, man will smell and taste the knowledge of the universe. In other pictures from space organizations, we saw again the system creating shields, magnetic shields, protecting itself from the fields of the sun as it passed it, which is again showed intelligence. We see in this what we call intimacy between the two units of 3i and swan, and then we see life. You got to understand, they don't need to touch each other. From millions of kilometers, they can create a mayhem in interacting with the sun. What will this bring us? We have to wait. Would this, in the course of next 4 to 6 weeks or whatever, It takes us to be on the other side or on the same side as we are of the sun, but for this system to come out itself towards us, maybe 90%, we hope, we'll see crafts, not only on Earth, but other part of the solar system. We'll see beginning of life. And as I said to a knowledge seeker last night, it's like a cruise ship has come to port. As I said in the other teaching, some of the universal community people who we always said that about a third of us on this planet are not from here, the cruise has come. They have to take back on ship to go home or to the next port of destination. And some of them, in the shape and condition of the man, will join us in a way they change hotel. And with it, they bring us new dimension of intelligence. If we do not preserve the condition of universal condition, what we call the world peace, mankind will lose. And if we observe the conditions, if you remember, most of you who were with us, you signed the World Peace Treaty between yourself and your soul, except the Brazilians, you will see a new dawn, a new beginning for mankind. Either way, we have received such an energy, all of us, that many of us, even possibly the change of the race of the man, is on the card from now on. What is interesting is how fast we've seen this light. Because it's possible that this little chap will jump out much faster than we thought from the back of the sun side, or waits longer for us to come out, or we see it joining us in new race of the space and fulfillment of the promises. As we said, wait and see. And if the what we call citizens of the universe decide to open the door of the universe to humanity, as I said, the only thing which will bring this about to happen, the final, what we call conclusion of contact with us in this cycle, because this ship will come back once it goes for its tour around the universe. The point of change will come, as this is in the dimension of the soul, with the interaction with the soul of the daughter of Mitra, a new race in the universe. We have to wait to fulfill, and we have to wait to see how humanity changes, and or if our leaders cannot accept peace, they are in touch, they are part of this, they become part of this structure past few weeks. The only alternative left will become what we have seen with the pyramids in Egypt. Legacy of building achievements with no citizens. And how mankind will change. Would we go for peace or we don't, or they think they've done enough by releasing such energy that in due course mankind will change and take over different conditions and positions. We were correct in assessment, and we'll see most probably we are correct in the outcome. And most probably we leave the same as we are, but this time we will not go and we will not find another excuse what happened to the people who lived on this planet. And hopefully we will not go into the rat holes, and those who are in the oceans do not hide. Those who are in the, what we call inside the oceans, will not come out as different race. That's the race of the man, there's a race from this planet. As I said, this is not a hostile, it's a very friendly system, has even looked after us, not to let us to face this energy in front of us. I said in a very polite way, it's like the mother and the father hiding in the room that the children don't know while they are giving life, creating a new life. Being aware of them in the house, but not knowing what they're up to as a new life takes shape. I hope if this encounter happens within the next times, it's not that they're going to destroy us. They are passengers. They just move on, and or we see a new development. Many of us could be standing by Christmas, not in front of the Christmas tree, but in front of those who can tell us truly what was it Christmas. They've been here, they've seen the show. Now they can tell the story. And it'll be very interesting how we as human race accept, believe, and go, or through the enlightenment, light of enlightenment we receive from them, we will understand the wisdom of the truth and the reality of what is on and what is going on. I hope you enjoy it if it happens, but every indication here is that we should, I think it's time for man to become part of the universal community. And I hope it can be fulfilled. New knowledge, new understanding, new race, a race can be accepted by the universe, not with the animal behavior of today. As they say, fasten your seatbelts and see where the ride takes you. Going back to the teaching and what we said, for mankind to go into the next steps of understanding the process of creation, mankind needs to understand the play game of energies, the time, the place, the position, and how life is created. Mankind has to understand that there are two different things in two different dimensions, but one leads to the other, and the other leads to the one which created it. In the world of the physics of today, we look all the time on the material side. We see the material side and the energy, but we ignore the energy side. We carry on with the materials. With a new understanding, we have to understand the dual role play of energy. When the energy changes to a matter state, or how does the same energy goes into the energy state without the need for matter state manifestation, state of the soul of the man. And then if one understands this, one understands how the soul is created, how from the interaction of the fields of the soul, which one leads to the creation of the soul of physicality, which itself leads to creation and manifestation of the physical life. Soul of physicality is the weight. And is the outcome of the interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of the planet. And in that process, the interaction of the outcome of this, which we call the soul of physicality, again back itself with the soul of the planet lead to physical manifestation of the man. In a way, the soul is the creator. And the soul of the planet in its interaction creates the meter. And in interaction of themselves, the two lead to creation and manifestation of the physicality. How much we understand this and how much we follow the interaction between the fields and in combination with the matter state will dictate how man will explore the space, where through same hand as creating a dimension of the physical life to live in, one understands what needs to be done between the soul of physicality and the soul of the planet to lead to manifestation of the physical structure or no physical structure, depending upon the magnetic field strength of the soul of physicality. And if one understands this, you don't need to go on the magic box. You will be always on the magic box. It just depends when you want to create the magic. You got to understand the way the fields play with each other and the way the fields play with us. And then understand how you can separate the two from each other. If life is created by interaction of the fields, we need to understand which field the strength is for what job and what it means and how it manifests itself and how we allow it to be. If we look at the reports coming from 3i, they keep on telling us that this system is sending so much field information or whatever or movement or correction of movement or whatever at a given space gap. What does this mean? This space gap means this system wants to, has the capability of, and it will lead to creation of life. It's what it means. It means this system will produce life. And to do so, it needs to have in common with us, with planetary system it works, and is about understanding what every action it has taken fits to us, fits with our work, fits with our understanding. This system is regularly sends pulses. The system, we've seen pictures now coming from what we call the other agencies. We are aware of its shape and whatever. Sends pulses. We are used to one system communication, and that's what we are. The radio, television station, whatever. We made a box, we made all our noises in it, and we transmit. This system has multiple systems with their own half or their own pulses. How is a pulse created? In the body of the man, with the heart of the man, because we attach every muscle tissue to something, we control the heart, the pulse. When you look at the pulse of the heart, is no difference than when a polarity changes in a planetary system. In a planetary system, we allow the pulse variation in the field to go through, and then it has no attachment, it revolves. With the heart of the man, we have struggled it, we attached it, so it cannot go through the half. Plasma in the system goes through the half cycle of polarity change. The heart cannot follow, so it kicks back again. We call it the heartbeat, but there is no difference in the world of the creation between the heartbeat and the polarity change of a physical dimension. And as our heartbeat changes according to different emotions, the heartbeat from, or the pulse from system like 3i does the same. We kept on speaking about the emotion and the soul. the interaction of the fields which has been released and what will come across will be at the space gap field strength energy that will make a peaceful man out of the man. You all play the game with us for past few years, and you all across this planet have in your kitchens, have in your house, maybe you don't do it, still left something somewhere, the ganses. Those ganses create a pulse. The gans of your heart create the pulse of the heart. It depends how you shackle this pulse, how you speed it up or reduce it, and put it in interaction with the pulse of his environment dictates the life. Every cell has a pulse, and when that cell has a tuned magnetic field strength with the pulse of the soul and the pulse of the heart, lead to its creation, generation, and sustainability. If we understand this, we understand how a system like 3I reads our emotion, knows our outcome, knows our fear, knows our needs, and everything else. The captain of this system creates a pulse that if your pulse tunes to mine, you go to it. The call of the nature. But the nature in dimension of the energy and not physicality, and mankind knows exactly what this means. If we understand this, and if we can bring it to work in a sequential way, mankind will find peace, will find a new way of life, and then mankind will understand how the system works. The energy of the emotion, if it's in pulse with the energy of physicality of the motion of his energy, man will never have a heart attack. Man will never have a brain hemorrhage. We don't understand it. And for that reason, we die of it. One is the pulse and one is the frequency of the physical matter. And when they don't match, is the end. This is why mankind dies. No one on this planet has ever died of a cancer, but we all die of lack of energy because the cancer lump takes over, changes the rhythm of the time of the cell. Don't match. The pulses don't meet the way it was because the pulses of the cell, the pulses of the soul of physicality, the pulses of the heart, the pulses of the soul of the man, originally in the womb of the mother, tune with each other. So they follow it. And once one is out of position, it creates a mayhem. When you are emotionally involved and you cannot handle it, it raises your blood flow because of the physical dimension that you have created. The energy has to go somewhere. It comes to the heart. The cycle of the reversal cannot be carried because it's too strong. The muscle tissue are holding the heart in position. you have a heart attack. That heart attack enlists such a huge energy between the energy of the soul of physicality, and the physicality of the blood which comes in, booms up, goes to the top, gives you brain hemorrhage, burns the cells. If you go back and look at the pictures we just saw of the interaction of the fields of the tree-eye with the sun, you see the energies of the north much, much stronger than the south, where the energy transfers all the way through the dimension of the rotation. In the past 10 minutes, I've given you a secret of creation, the way the Creator creates. If you understand it, you're not far from to be the passengers of the spaceships when it comes. That spaceship is not a three-eye. It's understanding of yourself, how you want to be part of the energy of the universe in the right order, that it comes from you, the right creatures, of the interaction of the fields of you with the environment in the future. Frequency is the game of the matter and the man. Pulse and plasma, collection of fields, is the game of the creation. And just because man does not understand this, he ignores it, denies it, and everything else which comes with it has to be stopped, because he hasn't got the intelligence to understand the two are the same, but in different houses, different rules. Remember, when we were teaching some times ago, in our systems, I always explained, there is no AC inside the plasma. Plasma only appears, we know its boundaries, when we can detect AC. EC is the feature of physicality, and DC is the feature of what we call a plasma. That it has nothing to interact, it's always within itself and the dimension of it. And for that reason, it absorbs energy from the whole of the environment, not collective, selective to the field strength. If, as knowledge seekers, you understood this, you have found the key to universal peace. You have found the key to the dimension of the creation, and you have found the key that if you decide, makes you a candidate, if they decide for you to join them in the trip, round trip of 3,000 years to come back again. And if our scientists understand this point, the game of the life as a citizen of the universe has started. I leave it with you. I gave you a lot of little informations, and then we build on this more and more, that you can see how you can create life and what is the purpose of life through the eyes of the creation, not the created. We go for a break, we come back and try to answer some of your questions.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for that teaching. All right, we'll take a break now and be back shortly. Just let me get my sharing back again here. Okay, there we go. We are in the 613th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 23rd, and we'll have a short break, about 5 or 6 minutes, and be back with the second part where people will have an opportunity to ask questions. We already have a number of questions in our Q&A here, which is a good place to put them, as well as in the chat or in the chat in YouTube. Okay, back shortly. Very good, thank you.
There's something I forgot to tell you. Please, when you receive your units in next 4 or 5 weeks, or maybe sooner or later, please do not do anything with it but just to plug it. We do the rest. Do not tamper with it, do not try to connect it to a computer, do not do anything with it, as we will try to bring it into the point that all of you, when you receive the second part, connecting the second part to the first part sometime in the very near future, you start connecting with the rest of and possibly beyond of, and be able to receive a lot of things through your systems. The first part is a man-made part. Second part is connection to universe. And don't touch what you receive. Just plug to where it says and stay with it. Don't touch it, don't play with it. And see what changes it brings to your life and the people around you. we needed for you to understand. When you start receiving your second part, just take it out of its package and connect it to the first part, and that's all you need to do. And it has a structure of energy like a soul. You tamper with yourself. And then maybe you can release yourself from eating and the rest of it. These systems will be a dual system. One is the one which you carry your coins and your other bits, information and teaching. And at the same time, it carries the dimension of connection to what we call universal teaching. You deprive yourself from receiving the knowledge. Any other question?
Okay, we're back again at the 613th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here. And as I mentioned before, because it's the second half, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. And I think Mr. Keshe will have a thing or two to say before we enter into that Q&A part. So please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. We are hoping by next 2 to 3 weeks to send out the first batches of these systems. Everything is getting ready for it. Hopefully the people are working in the background for the software completed. Once you receive the units, try to connect it to Wi-Fi to your internet, or we are looking for a system registration, which means the unit can carry its own connection directly to a SIM card. This is not a cheap way to do it, but in a way you can take it anywhere, and the system is continuously connected. All you need, you pay a fee for a connection, it's a satellite connection or the system of the internet connection, and doesn't interfere with anything. And that is a system on its own, not us. We have to negotiate to purchase. If any of you want to have that independent system, you can take it anywhere, it doesn't connect to your internet, cannot fall out, and you pay annual fee to the subscription to the what do you call the provider. On the other hand, once you receive, you confirm you received it, then we, within weeks, send you a second part to add to, just plug and play, that it connects it to our system, which means we cover, as I said before, the governments cover the satellites and the space above. Earth started from the ground. We cover the mankind from the ground with these units, which means all of us, we are connected to each other. And the system will cover everybody else in the mesh. We create a dome on this planet. And we try to be in as many nations as possible in the first 100 units. That at least there is one unit in every nation. Those of you in your countries could not buy one or receive one, could not afford it, we send you a unit because we have received donations to cover for this. As part of our system, those are you who've been generous to us, have paid for the others to receive. And so in the first 100 units, we try to cover as many countries as possible. we have not received more or less any orders from Africa, but our knowledge seekers in Africa will be send the unit, will give you the unit. The only part left with you is the what we call nations import duty, that if you can, we contact you before we send you, that if you can afford it, that we don't send it to you, that it gets stuck in the customs and everything else, you have to chase it. And if you have a continuous internet, this thing has to be continuously connected to internet. And then we test the first 100 for a month or two to see its capabilities, any problems, and then we start delivering on a continuous basis till we reach our 10,000 units. And please, when you receive the second part, just plug it in. Don't try to pick at it what it is. As I said, you lose what you came in for. These are very sensitive. They're built on a specific structure and has to stay that way. All you need to do is supply it with the power. And automatically connects to the Wi-Fi, and the people will set it up in the background. We have set things up to be able to deliver this, as man didn't come from the sky. Man doesn't fly all the time. Man is grounded, and 99.999% of us are always on the ground earth. Some of you live on the lower ground levels. Amsterdam, around that area, you're 10 meters, 20 meters. In some of the places, you are below ground. And some of you are on top of the mountains and the hills. So you cover each other very well. And so once you receive this, please understand that it's not yours. It belongs to humanity. It belongs to the rest of us to change us and the others to that dimension direction. This system transmits in their own way emotion of peace. That's why we put it out. In their connection to our systems, we connect one of the systems to the system which continuously radiates the what we call, you call it the frequency of peace, but in a way that we work with the soul of the man. So please be vigilant and be aware of receiving these things. If you live in any part of the third world, you can have a continuous internet and a continuous facilities to have access to internet, let us know, and we try to provide you with it. And at the same time, we will in the next few weeks open what we call the supporting site for those who want to have a yearly premium to one of the international organizations for a continuous Wi-Fi connection that it never disconnects, because through these you will understand. We'll put a session, most probably 2 sessions, for you to learn how to use the system for its tokens and how to play the game of enlightenment, and in that process for you to gradually learn how to use these systems. That is more or less what is set up for, and we take it from there. The session tomorrow, for those of you who are participant, will be a very interesting one, and I hope you will enjoy the session tomorrow. We're gonna hammer you with joy and pleasure, and I hope you can tell us. We will take you into dimensions beyond your imagination. And in a way, we're testing before the rest of you receive the packages of being tested on. If you need any help during the session, please let us know, and please be aware that in what dimensions and what position you as knowledge seekers tomorrow in the session of the October would like to be and how to participate in it. Mr. Ask you, please, we need more donations to put more of these units across this planet, and we are doing our best to cover, spread, and be able to complete this job. And I hope you all succeed in being able to use it, enjoy it, and then sometime in the next year or so, I connect you, those of you who are the man of peace, to the universal systems, to these systems, to carry the message of peace through you, through your soul, to the rest of humanity. It's a very complicated job, but we need to spread at least a few thousand of these before we can do this. In a way, what I envisage that in a very near future, through the connections of knowledge seekers around the world, those of you who live near ocean, to be able to drop these units in the oceans of this planet, providing you a sealed, waterproof system which can transmit, receive, and spread this, what we call the knowledge of creation into it. And let's see how far we can go and how we can develop this thing. And in tomorrow's session, partially we'll test this, and I'll explain to you tomorrow when you're in the session with us. If there are any questions, we try to answer, and hopefully we'll see how far we can go with this.
Mr. Keshe was sent some images of the Halloween products, and would it be appropriate to share them now or later?
If you want. Oh, you received them.
Yes.
Do it.
Okay.
I think some of them are gorgeous. This is the range, and there's a limited amounts left. We're shipping everything out this week, maybe today, tomorrow. I think it's going to be shipped out. You all receive, if you're in Europe, your Halloween packages. And those, if you're in the far distances places, you have to pay for a freight. You'll go. Just open the pictures, you can see.
This is the overall view, and you see there's a lot of products. I have a lot of pictures, but I'll show a representation of them here. This is more of a close-up of that previous one.
It tells you how to play the Halloween games. These, don't forget, they're all saturated with gases. These are those products that you can put around the house to get the feels, or in the room or on the table. They're not just ornaments. They are functional working system. They carry the gases of peace, equality, and everything else.
Mr. Keshe, the particles we see in these is that part of the ganses, or is that something
some
else?
of it, yes. Some of it, yes.
Maybe even some gold.
Every single item here is carrying a message of plasma technology in peace and everything else. These the bats are like coasters. They're like small trays. You can put your cups in it and it charges up. You have a coaster of it, put it on top. Don't look at it as black, actually. Look at the different ways. I think there's a game. There are games where you actually can hold the items in your hand. These are all part of the positive energy of the gases which we have added to the system. There's something with this. You don't just receive the items like this. There's a full table of things which goes with this package. The table mats, the table cost, the table, even those, I think the packaging you see in the back, you receive everything that you can set a table up. It's not just the item. It's a full Halloween table set up. I think this one glows at dark. One of these glows at dark is a pumpkin, which I've seen. It glows at dark. Everyone is different features. Yeah, there's a tic-tac-toe. The tic-tac-toes, the plates are, yes. If you receive the X and zeros, or the O's, those are gas saturated. The what do you call it? The rest is the ornaments. This what do you call it? The Halloween mystery package is literally when you open up, you can set a table of it. It's fun, but it carries a lot of things which we wanted to pass, and it's a lot of fun to have it, to play with it. Do you have any more pictures?
I do have plenty more, but they're much more the same. But if you want to see more of them, we can definitely do that.
Do you have any of the cubes, the big cubes? They're the nice ones. I saw them.
Yes, I do. Just a second here.
There is the same kind of theme for Christmas package, but they'll be very limited. These are very limited range, and yeah, there it is. If you have an order, you can still place an order, and then I think they should be fulfilled. If we don't receive too many orders, we still can support with it. This is a nice one. The sand, even the container, this glass see-through, what we call resin, is filled with different gases. The resin itself, this transparent one, is saturated with different gases.
So what we see at the bottom is not liquid as such. It won't slosh around or anything.
No. It's a solid sand. No, it's a solid sand. But it's made up with gases. Okay, I think we've seen enough. But if you go on the website, if any of you wants to place an order, if there is anything, they'll be sent forward. You'll receive it, but it'll be out by Monday latest. Then you receive it by the end of the week. A lot of people go out today or tomorrow, I think. With this thing, you see a lot of Halloween soaps and that kind of thing goes as well, which I just saw a package there in one of the pictures. All the soaps which is made for Halloween with a pumpkin smell and also things which goes with it. It's been done. So I told you this is a This is a full venture Halloween home joy. Okay.
Okay, very good.
I think they might have connected it to the, what do you call, the website. Just we go in there and you just play it as it is.
I think I'll have to get rid of the images on my screen here first. Just bear with me a minute or so as we review these.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So you mentioned the store is.
Yeah, it's just on the store. It's a packaging Halloween scene. I think it should be there, whatever they can see.
Is it under the Cosmic Halloween, or is it?
Yeah, I think so, that one.
Okay, there's 3 different variations that folks can get: a €250, €500, or €1,000. The bat, the cat, and the pumpkin.
Okay, yeah.
Collections. All right, good. I'll put that link in our chats as well.
Yep, okay.
There we go. Good. Now, get back our background image. There we go. Okay, so you're open for questions now, Mr. Keshe?
Yeah.
All right. We have a couple of hands up, and I always like to adjust the hands up first of all. So Adam, if you would like to go first, and we have Mehran after that. Adam, would you like to unmute in order to speak? Oh, I got a different Adam that came up with a hand up. So not sure what's happening there, but I'll allow Adam number 2 to speak.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Oh, it's the first Adam.
Oh, okay.
I've run into trouble with paying for the test tomorrow, and I realized that there have been some change in the account number of the Keshe Foundation store. And
you just go to the account. It's the same place. It's the same account. Has been for years.
Then it's a problem on my side, perhaps.
Yeah, send
my
a
bank...
message. Send a message to info@Keshe Foundation.
I already done that.
When did you do that?
Recently, just 5 minutes ago, I have sent it.
Okay, wait for it. They'll answer you back.
Perfect.
They send you the bank details. No
Thank
problem.
you very much. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
Okay.
Adam number 2 now.
Adam, I think it was the same Adam somehow.
So
name.
we can go to the Eve now. Can we have...
Well, Mehran has dropped off, but Salamia has taken her place. So I guess we'll allow Salamia to go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Rick. I'd like to ask you about these frequencies of peace related with these units, and what can we do in Romania, for example, to benefit from what you provided with these units? How can I help?
I don't know. These systems, when they are delivered, they carry more or less, they should carry all the teachings, all the websites of the Keshe Foundation, the what we call enhancement game, and they are connected to the Keshe coin structure. And step by step, we follow it, and then we'll explain to you as they come what it can do, what it can be done, and how different people can participate in it.
Okay. And I have other question regarding Linz. Do you have in Linz your because I was not present for a few times, sorry. And I'd like to know if Dean and you are still there in Linz, or you are...
No, we have closed the exhibition center for nearly 2 years, year and a half, 2 years.
Yes, I knew something
Yeah.
like this. We don't have any students now?
We will announce a new place for Keshe Foundation structure very soon. In the next few months, needs to be done, needs to complete. That it's part of the research and the exhibition together. Hopefully, we'll see what comes up. We're still paying heavily to store all the exhibition materials till we reopen a new exhibition center, but no.
Thank you very much. I was asking you because my nephew just chose Linz because of you to go there and study classical music master program, and I didn't know. Yes, he
No.
go there by how don't know. Good did this. I think so. Our soul.
Linz has a couple of what you call musical institutes and universities. Of course, as you know, Austria is famous for its musical what you call universities and institutes.
Yes, he got first there, first place, and I am very proud of him. I hope he will help humanity for peace development.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Love Mr. Keshe, and God bless you and all humanity.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Salmia. We have a question from Lerdina from the Brazilian community. And the question is, what will happen on October 29th? There are rumors that 3i Atlas will do something. I would like to know if this is possible. Have a good day. I think that was one of the milestones, wasn't it? Is it the closest to Earth at that time, or the closest to the sun?
How many planetary systems are in the solar system? Rick?
How many planets are in the...
Yep.
Well, I think it depends on if you include poor little Pluto, which they kicked out of the planet system.
And brought him back again.
Brought it back in. I think it's 9. Some talk about a planet 10 as well.
Yeah, they're trying to get something in. If you notice, go back to teaching up to 609, 10 or whatever. I explained that this system split itself to 9, 3 and then 9. And strange enough, each of these are creating their own batches. They're small. We have seen some of them in a way. And strange enough is that a cluster disappears every time when some of these go near and come near a planetary system. This is very interesting the way this thing is taking shape, and there is a lot of debate on what's going to happen, but you got to understand, if from 29 million kilometers away it could create a, as they say, dust hurricanes on Mars, how far he has to stay from Earth not to interfere with the rest of us.
The October 29th I'm seeing that's the closest point to the sun that 3i Atlas will reach.
It's supposed to rendezvous with us somewhere in November, December, isn't it? Back end of November, December.
Yes, we'll be able to see it again once it comes out of the other side of the sun around then.
Yeah, but how many chicks will it carry? He's busy mating on the other side, isn't it? We've seen the flashes of love coming out, all the sparkles. Yeah, we have to see what he makes and how this, as I said, how this mating keeps going. Don't forget, it's hidden from us, but other planets are having good fun watching what they're doing there. The beauty of it is 100% sure, if we could have been there, is that we'll see most probably what you saw as a light. We'll see, or something like this is in progress in the background on the other side to the party we are not invited. Looking at it from the top angle of the what you call the solar system, most probably we're somewhere here. Different thing. This is the Earth, we are here. The sun is somewhere here. These systems, don't forget this 29, they say it's going to be the closest sun. This is approximate. That's what they think they'll do their slingshot. At the moment, what is most probably taking shape is huge magnetic fields flow between these three. The interaction is when the head was where we saw the peaking up. The original peaking came through the R2. Is massive, and that created the splash. The reason for the splash is very simple. Why you see this, what we see, these winds or whatever. The fields are magnetical, and they hit, suppress the surface of the sun, and it becomes like throwing a stone in the pond. And the splashes we saw is that. So if we stand outside, if you look at it, there's a structure that these three are creating. This will go its way, this will go its way, and then we meet up somewhere here. This encounter, if this system does not split itself, will bring a massive energy that encounter with us. If, I cannot go on if because there's a lot of factors involved, we will lose half of our satellites. The present communication we built up will gone. Unless its system, we see a tail back on it. If we see the system has a tail, again towards the sun, this is protecting us. In a way, as it's going through its trajectory, if it's going out, it has a huge field. It actually breaks it off towards the sun to protect the Earth. If they haven't made any mistakes up to now, one thing we know, we lost number 2 in control. So we know that there's a channel of the communication with what is outside in the space. But most probably, the civilization of relying on the communication system for a time will be disturbed. No satellites work. The reason is it takes time to go and the satellites rotate one by one, come in front of it. The magnetic field effect of it, magnetical field will be huge, but we have to see how they control it. And if it's not controlled, we go back to the time of the Stone Age. In a way, we have to rebuild all the communication systems. Most probably only the cables work. We will lose most of our energy systems, power stations, nuclear power stations. And that's the absolute horrendous if that happens. If the system comes close enough that what we've seen with the performance of the magnetic fields in the past, within the past few months, how it's created the shield to approach the sun, then it can create a magnetic field to protect the Earth. But if anything goes wrong, we'll literally go back to the donkey's age. Literally in seconds, we go back to the Iron Age. Or the Stone Age, more or less, because none of the systems we have will work. But I don't see it. System is very caring what it does. They must have a very good captain. And we'll see what happens by January, or what you call December. There's a focal point, December the 6th. Very possible we might see something on that day. And that's a type of target. On December the 6th, on Nicholas Day, we might see something in that day if it happens. But if systems are not controlled, from what we've seen from the other interactions, the way this system targeted the only unit we have outside in the space so rapidly, and it's taken over it, took us 50 years to get it there, and it gets there in seconds. It works in the combination system. And we'll see what happens. I explained a little bit of this in the meeting with the Brazilian and the Chinese community last Sunday. And a lot of things will change. We have to see if they produce, if the fields created and held as the plasmatic fields, we all walk away with it because we are born in it as a gas bodies. If at any point anything happens that the energy of the plasma converts into the matter state, or one of our stupid leaders makes a mistake to try something, which we think there's one is about to do something like this, we'll see it. You got to realize Musk tried to use one of his systems, trying to go and explore, and he was wiped out before it takes off. And the policy apparently with these people is, don't mess around with us. We do what we like. We're not there to harm you. Observers. And we have to see more how maybe somebody thinks they're too clever, does something stupid. So this is how the slide has happened. This is how it is, and watch what happens in the next few days and few weeks, or would we still see another side of the game when he comes out? Would it be much brighter? He's tapped up. This is what they do. They go as close as possible to the energy source. They download a specific field strength into the load, which is what you call is an energetic system. And they load up and they store, and they have refueled till the next star they approach, they arrive. It's a tanking job. That's why they go so close. If you looked at what we saw as pictures, which was moved to us by the different organizations, this system where there was the sun and it was approaching, it created a completely confirming a plasma system. This confirmed it beyond shadow of a doubt, but again, our scientists have no clue, which is normal with them. It created a shield. It was half shield, and we see it in some of the images we see. So yeah, actually what it does is continuously protecting itself with shields. And when you look at some of the detailed pictures coming out, it has a multiple shielding in different strength. And that's why it can get close to the sun. And it keeps the back end away from the sun all the time. The shield moves. And the shield has a specific field strength, but has a filter for a specific fields to top up. Yes, in a way, it has a parameters which is collecting certain amount of plasmatic magnetic fields, tanking into a center core, but it's shielded from the others. This we'll see, and it depends how much is tapped in. Don't forget the last time when it was before it reaches to Mars, when it loaded, we saw it split itself. Now it's had a good time. Would we see a school of them coming out? And what is interesting, keep an eye on your neighbors. Keep an eye on the people you think you know. And see if suddenly after December they're not here. For any reason. They go traveling, they leave. These are the ones who are returning back to the ship. They've had their time here. And some of them are 3,000 years old. They just move on, change their front. Just something to watch. Any other question? Hello.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We had a question with Kirsten here in the Q&A, who says, Over the past few days, a friend and I have noticed a strong energetic background activity that has had a powerful effect on our psyche. Yesterday evening, this activity reached a peak, after which we both suddenly experienced a sense of relief at the same time, independently of each other. We have observed such phases repeatedly, but this time it was particularly intense. We do not know what triggers these processes. Our question is, could this be related to the tests or activities of the Keshe Foundation, or to the presence of 3i Atlas and to our swan, which might amplify such processes? And then Kirsten goes on a couple of questions below. Thank you for your answer. You answered already. Amazing time now. So you've already answered that question, apparently. And we had another question from Antonio that's related. Says, Mr. Keshe, last couple of days there was a global internet outage. Reports said it was not from hacking. Would this be from the 3i effects on Earth?
Yes, we are monitoring this. It started. A lot of banking systems have been touched on the East Coast and in what they call in the United States. Yes, there is. That's why I even refer to. We're going to be touched, and the only more or less secure place is the cable lines, but they still are vulnerable at the point of emergence, at the point of the switchboards and the servers. This started since 2 days ago, 3 days, well, 2 days ago or so now, since the Atlas, and we saw this flash in the what do you call it, by the sun. Monitoring this very closely, yes, it is. It came at the same time. There are no coincidences. You know, we help a lot of people with things. Oh, it just happened from now. There is no coincidences. It happened at exactly the time. The fields are of the strength. If they convert in your system, you got it. You get it. Just hope that the surge is there, that you can accept it. The new system we are developing will never face this such a thing. It's developed in a way that one transfers into the other and shares. But yes, you're 100% correct. We're going to get more of it till January.
Okay, a question from Paulo, who says, great Professor Keshe, I have 3 questions and a business proposal. Not long ago, you sent a message to the universal community. Is the interaction of interstellar objects with Earth related to your message? If so, did you activate them from your hometown, or was it an SOS for those passing closer to us on their excursions?
None of it.
Okay.
No.
Next question. What will happen if we don't abandon this habit of killing in the space race? Will autonomous robots with souls and therefore plasma intelligence be more valued than humans, their creators, in the universe, since they will survive solely on energy?
Well, we can dream that way. Quite possible. There is something which they don't tell you. At the moment, with the knowledge which they're building the robots, they're all mechanical. Then you understand dust and time plays the game. But you can make as many as robot. Man repairs itself. We heal ourselves. robots can't. It's the impossibility to get to. You can build systems that they can monitor, correct themselves, and the rest of it, but unless they build the factory that they keep on replacing themselves, that's only pitfall with them. But mankind have always got the advantage. You got to realize these systems are not tested in deserts. They are not tested in the oceans. They are not tested in islands with salt. There's a new ones. They do everything else. They clean your house. They do everything else. They add the AI to it and does everything sweet. But at the end of it, we made them, and they're vulnerable to age and destruction of their own cells. Next question.
Paulo's third question, what will the ceremony be like to give thanks, make proposals, and receive guidance from the Creator when science, religion, and politics come together?
Good imagination. I think the celebration will be when the man becomes peaceful. At the moment, you know what they say, people, when they got nothing, they turn on themselves inside. And one of the nations which promoted war for peace is turning back on itself inside. And we have to see how they demolish themselves in one way or another to get there. It's very interesting. The American structure, Western European structure of the war system relies on the system and materials, which, as we all know, 80-90% comes from China, and China is refusing to sell anything to anyone who uses things for arm. They did exactly what they did with them. We don't sell you any chips. You have no advanced computers because you can be more ahead of us. It's okay. Now we are economically and scientifically good enough. We are not giving you the material to make you to fight us. If President Xi stays alive and they don't get rid of him somewhere, and the CPC carries on with his ethos, we are heading for world peace. Because one guy has understood, if I don't supply you, you can't have it. And if you don't have it, you can't make war. And if China withholds rare earth material to go to any company who makes the tools of war, we are in for a peace. Whatever ammunition you got in the house, aircrafts, missiles and the rest, hold on to it because you cannot make any more of it. But the beauty of it is, even the bullet you use won't be there because the material is not there. I hope President Xi sticks to his and controls the raw material into where it goes, and they want a full explanation. They've asked for it. They want an explanation for exactly what they use the material. If it's used for arms for America or Europe, you're not supplied. Let's see how far it lasts, how much pressure they can take. But if Xi sticks to his gun, we are in for a world peace because nobody will have material to make arms. But again, it's man, there is other ways to do it. Any other question?
Okay, Paulo's proposal was, at least a partial proposal, because it cut off here. There are thousands of hectares of steep mountains that I would like to begin managing to reforest and create an ecological park as a sanctuary for endangered wildlife, in addition to being able to produce food using a bioagroforestry system. And then it cuts off, and he reached the limit of words in the chat, apparently.
They've got to realize what is involved in ethical works. I explained this recently, and I explained this for knowledge seekers to understand for the record. We set out to feed the humanity. We got two big problems. One is that technologically we are getting there. It takes time, maybe another year or 2 years. Secondly is that if we use just the energy that you receive, tasteless, odorless, whatever, your emotion will run with the essence of life. But if you are supposed to feed you with apples and tomatoes and what knows, we have to go back and recreate the structure that has no contamination. So the first job for Keshe Foundation is to go bring the what you call products into first of all creating a pure apple that has had no, or as let's say all the nitrogen, all the bits which over years have gone into the structure of his roots are withdrawn or were taken out, and then make a system which with that can produce energy fields that is pure, that you can transmit. If I have, let's say, aluminum in the structure of a food which is not supposed to be there, when I transmit this energy, the aluminum transmits too. If you have antibiotics given to an animal, when we transfer, it gets transferred back to, and then you get all the side effects in the body because everybody else in it. Purity of food, essential fundamental basis, needs to be redone, and Keshe Foundation has committed itself to that job. Creating the first seeds which have no contamination. And we have set out, the structure has been set out to achieve this. Pure seeds, which from it we can produce materials, vegetation or whatever, which have no contamination and is accessible to all men through the technology. There's a very big problem with me. I cannot sit and do nothing as usual, as all of you know. So in the near future, in a couple of years, remember 613, and then one day say he knew something. But the problem is most of the food we have over the time of past 100 years has been fully contaminated. We have to do 2 or 3 things at the same time. It's not just cleaning the food. We have to clean the air, we have to clean the ground, we have to purify the water. And we have started the process. And you will see, I see somebody who was very devious in the background, sits and listens to the teaching and tries to play with the market cooperation shares. We are on you, and soon we'll have a knock on the door. And that knock will cost you a lot of time for interfering with the stock market. You thought you're clever, but we get you. You're mocked. For that reason, I explained to many of you that in the very near future, we set out this cooperation through Market Cooperation International to promote the production of materials which are pure, and then for purification of the air and the water, and then the food. This is why we got involved with Market. And once the what you call interference with the shares of the Market finishes in the next few days by this clever gentleman, then we move on. We are delayed till this is sorted by the authorities in the United States, and then we move to the dimension we have to do, because we can't allow drug addicts to be in playground of the Keshe Foundation. And then you will see the programs which we had laid out for all three next 2 or 3 years. The rain rains on us is contaminated. The air we breathe is contaminated. The waters we drink are contaminated. The food we eat are contaminated. And there is a process that we need it pure, clean, that we can change it. And we have started it with the food, the basic fundamental of the food. We don't need tons of it. We just need to create a batch of it. And that batch gives us the base to use the communication system which you are supporting us to be built. We still need another $4 or $5 million for these units to be complete, at least in the lower phase, to go through. And then sustaining it, holding it, and then sharing the necessity of math. And we'll see what happens next to it. But the structure is to clear the pure seeds. That if you have lead in it, we transfer it as the energy, you receive that lead in it, and then God knows the mayhem. So we have started the process. Maybe next year, 2 years, you will achieve it. And everything needs to be cleaned up. That you go back to it, and then you transfer it to energy that the man doesn't need to contaminate, to kill on the rest of it through the systems we have. If you can donate or put a few millions to purchase these systems, we'll go with it. We need that help. And as I said, in November, those who've been instrumental to defraud the Keshe Foundation from our core assets, which was allocated for this foundation, are in court. God knows if he can get anything back, but whatever comes will go back towards this process. What was supposed to be done will be done in different ways. Any other question?
Chao from China had a question about, first of all, says thank you very much for everything you have done for humanity. May I ask when the plasma generator will be available for sale?
Working on it, actually, very much in a different way. The problem with us is we keep on moving into the next step. And now the whole principle is that when you receive this second part, we're trying to bring the generation of the energy that the unit does not need even to be connected to the landline, or what you call to the power supply, to feed itself. That's where we are working at the moment with it. And then this is translated into plasma generators. The movement, the speed of the understanding of the technology by the knowledge seekers within our team is getting so rapid that soon we'll do this. We set up a test to be done. And something happened. October of last year, we set out to bring this change. And something interfered with our work early this year, where we trying to go through the plasma generator, we had a very bad incident. We were lucky that nobody was killed. It had nothing to do with that side, but it had two parts of the system which we lost, and we had to set back and restructure. This won't happen to the plasma system. These are the systems, auxiliary systems, which are to provide this material and to problem. And we go for testing it again this year with a different way. And hopefully, with the new technologies, we'll be confining it to a very small unit with no other bits. As I said, the knowledge, because you don't hear what the foundation does in the background. We are involved in a lot of things in a very deep way. And this incident delayed a lot of work of the Keshe, but in a way, it happened. We are lucky that we didn't lose any life in the NGO, and there are a number of people in the room. And this is part of our work. Not the stop. And plasma generators, they become cosmic ray generators, come as part of the whole process of tap in, take what you need. And we'll explain it. It's just maybe 6 months, maybe less, maybe more. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. We have a question from Paola, as opposed to Paula, which is our previous questioner. Paola says, good morning, Mr. Keshe. I'm Paola Speranza, and I'm Italian from Rome. First of all, thank you for all your dedication to us knowledge seekers and to all of humanity. My question is this. Since the teaching of the 598th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, have the cosmic rays changed each time, or are new ones added to the existing ones? I see a set of multicolored luminous threads that increase with each teaching. So at each workshop, in addition to the new cosmic rays, we also receive those from previous workshops. Thank you for your attention, Mr. Keshe.
Can you explain?
I think you're supposed to explain that one. Well, this person is saying that they're seeing these teachings as multicolored luminous threads of cosmic rays. And when you get these cosmic rays, do you get all the existing ones plus the one that you generate in the current workshop? Or do they come as a package?
We continuously produce cosmic ray materials for different purposes, but different cosmic rays with different conditions. And now it's depends what you see. But you got to remember, the physicality of the man only contains, I explained before, I think I explained that in teaching in last couple of weeks or so. The physicality of the man contains all the elements which are on this planet. The soul of the man contains every element in the universe, which the physicality is not even one fraction of it. And you see different field strength according to your, what we call intellect, according to your level of field strength of what is visible to some is not to the others, but is complete, the spectrum is open to the others. And we forever endeavor to create or to connect to cosmic rays of different strength. The white or transparent light is the ultimate. Not gold. The goldish color we see, they show us on the sun in the pictures, is because man loves gold, but it's always the white color. It's the color of the sun. And that's the color of the plasma. It's the additives which changes the color. It's like when you put a small dots in the diamond, it changes the diamond color. But the rest is carbon. The other issue.
Okay, we have a important question from Ike, who says, "Good morning, Mr. Keshe, and thank you for all the knowledge." Question: could you describe how gravity is formed from the interaction of fields?
Where is your video, Rick? It's exactly how it's done.
I'll dredge that up once again here. Let's see.
That video sums up everything you need to know at plasma if you understand it. It's done by man, it's understandable, but more or less what you need to know how it's done and how it's created. But there is a bit missing in this video because again is made in one direction.
Let's see here. Let's be a second while I attempt to rearrange my situation. There we go. This would be the video in question. So at this point, let me just stop it briefly. You have the interaction of fields. So that is part of the question of Ike, which is, could you describe how gravity is formed from the interaction of fields? And we do see how these fields become plasma with its own gravitational magnetic field that, or external magnetic fields, as it says here. Does that automatically generate the gravitational fields just because you can't have just the magnetical? Or what was it that you were pointing out that's not correct with the images that we see, Mr. Keshe? Hello, we're not able to.
No, I'm just
trying
to find a way. Trying to find a way to knowledge is to understand the difference between the gravity and the magnetic fields. And I have a problem with charging my system. That's why I keep on having a problem trying to set how we can charge up. It's a stone you throw up in the air and it comes back on you. That's all it is. In the way we change the kinetic to potential difference energy in the matter state, the same thing happens in the energy matter state fields. We go from one to another, and then if we get it right, we can go back. And this is what happens. You change the magnetical to gravitational. There's a conservation of energy rule. There's a conservation of magnetic field rule. And the end is always balanced. Some parts are locally controlled. Some parts are centrally controlled. Some parts are controlled by what I call the mass center. And otherwise it's exactly the same. What you do is in gravitational, you gain in magnetical, but at the same time, one or the other can be added to. And it's the same as what we do in the kinetic and the potential difference. If you understand in the world of the physics of kinetic and potential, you understand how voltage changes to current. And if you understood how voltage changes to current, then you understand the work of the gravity and magnetical. They're all the same thing, but we are totally confused, lost in the mayhem, in the maze of too many, what do you call this? Too many cooks spoils the broth. Too many scientists have tried to explain too many things of the same thing, and now we all don't know where we are. If our scientists, if you as knowledge seekers understand, there's no difference between gravity and magnetical, then current and the voltage, and kinetic energy and the potential energy, then you're in business. Till you're in this process locked, everything doesn't make sense. There is a video pictures published in past few hours by one of the space agencies, and the pictures we see of this object, it's book number 2, in addition with book number 1 and book number 3, all in it, but I like to go with book number 2 at the moment. Is a spherical cylindrical plasma. They are showing things on it. We don't know. It has to be clarified. We've got to wait and see what we observe when this thing appears near us. The funniest thing is we can see the hills, the mountains, the valleys, the oceans of the planetary system in the solar system. But we cannot see an object's surface so precise from here, which is much closer than them. And if you understand gravitational magnetical, this entity has a hexagonal skin, which means it's life. One of the signals of a system with a solar system with a structure, when it's repeated, means intelligence, means life. 3i has hexagonal body, skin, like you and me, but in different sizes and positions and everything else. protects itself, but the skin is made. It's learned how to convert its energy to matter state, but at the same time hold on to it at a high speed of traveling into space, does not flip off. This is what a lot of our scientists have a problem to explain. And what does he do? Continuously converts the magnetical to gravitational field. This system has thousands and thousands of miniature plasma reactors, which creates this condition. You know these little mini chips in our pocket? They're miniature reactors. And they all produce energy at a given point in a certain way. Go and read the second patent. If you understand it not in the matter state as an energy state, you fully understand how magnetical works, how gravitational works, and how if you play with it, you have such an entity in the space traveling with the speed of the light. This is in the magnetical and gravitational, with magnetical going away, gravitational coming to me, and then how do you say, are you under a cliff watching a waterfall, the water comes to you and then runs away? Are you in a sitting holding a plug in your hand with a wire? Or are you going, are you just getting pulled back to a planet without anything, any string attached? You call it gravity. It's all the same. You have to understand. You are the system, and the environment goes around your system, not anybody else's. Any other question? Shall we call it a day? It's nearly 12 o'clock. I want to ask one more question, then we go.
Okay, let's see here. Let's go with Anonymous, who has actually a couple or three questions, but we'll go with the first one here. Says, hi Rick, I have a question for Mr. Keshe. I'm sure he's been asked to discuss this many times, but maybe I missed it. He's explained to us how souls are created, but in Eastern philosophy, they believe in that when people die, they are reincarnated, and some even have memories of past lives and so on. Can you explain this dilemma? What's the truth of it? Is reincarnation real? If it is, what percentage of souls get reincarnated? If not, what's really going on?
And RNA, and the rest is all talk.
RNAs, is that what you said, sir?
Yeah, I said, if you understand RNA and DNA regarding the man, carrying memories, and then they say, I'm reincarnated, yeah. But you have to understand the souls carry the information too. As much as we have memory in our RNA, there is a memory in the soul of the man. But the soul of the man carries the memory of the universe. That's why you can, when you have a dream, you can say which part of your life is connected to it. And if it's connected to RNA, if it's connected to your soul, is a physical dream. And in a way, it's part of the same. You have to analyze how. Do you understand the dream through the knowledge of the soul, or do you understand the dream through knowledge of the solar physicality, or do you understand the dream as part of your DNA? Or are they? Once you understand this, then you know how the dream you had is connected to where. It's not that you just load up the memory in the physical side. You load up the memory in the soul side. That's how the soul remembers things, knows things. But your physical life, you remember your uncle, your mother, your grandfather, maybe 1,000 people. With a soul, you're connected to the whole of the world of creation. As simple as that. When you dream, analyze it. Why? Did I talk about the cat yesterday with somebody and tonight I dream of a cat? Do I dream of going somewhere which will affect me, or it'll be somewhere and then it comes out that you're going to a trip to go to such a place? Why did I dream about it? That's to do with the soul of physicality. Then you have a dream which brings the essence of peace. Then that's the dream of the soul. You have to understand yourself, then you understand what it is. You have to understand the position of physicality. What does it bring you physically? Why? With different ages, we dream different. According to what knowledge we have put in. When we are a child, we dream different than when we are adult, because we bring in the memories of the growth of adulthood. When we become older, we do that, and then we come to the physicality. And then it goes on, and we dream of another stage through our DNA and RNA, another type of dreams that we couldn't dream when we were younger. And this is how structured. Any other question?
Well, we do have a couple of hands up here. Perhaps you can address Mehran, who had a hand up earlier.
Yes, hello, good morning, everybody. Good day, everybody. But yeah, the first one was by accident, but first of all, thank you very much.
Is it?
This one is deliberate. Yeah, it gave me the idea of passing a message. I thank you for all this free knowledge and solutions for humanity before it's too late. I hope it's not. There is still chance for humanity, for peace. So there is a message from from the Universal Councils, Universal Councils Force, that invites every knowledge seeker, every peace-loving person to join the souls at 9 PM CET to connect the souls together and wish for the peace for humanity and eventually technology of Keshe Foundation in exchange for peace to solve the humanity's problems. So there are a lot of things happening, and I'm very happy that you inform us. And I wish you all the best, and also for those people who come tomorrow for your session. Thank you very much again from you, for you, anybody else.
Thank you very much. I presume you're going to be there as usual.
I will be.
Yes.
Can we take one more question with the hand up,
Yeah.
Mr. Keshe? From, I'm not sure if it's Andreas or Brezel. In any case, I'll allow the microphone to be open if you would like to go ahead. And if it was indeed a deliberate hand raising.
There is something I would like to, go on. Who is it?
Sorry, it was missing.
A mistake. Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. There is something which I'd like to explain to a lot of knowledge seekers. Is usually we go off these sides every now and then when it comes to, because it affects some of our friends or knowledge seekers who are with us. And many of you have been around with us and you work with the foundation, with the work of foundation, especially on your physical side of the body and everything else. And there's something which is important for you as knowledge seekers to understand. Some of you are young, some of you are middle age, some of you are older age. And we got used to living a life in a way. What grandma used to make, mom made, I make, and then my children make. And this has become passing it down the line. But we see changes in some parts with some lives, and we have to understand, as with a human body, that we live through three elements: the earth, the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the water we take. And you have to understand that all these elements play part in how physically we live. And how our physical body is created. And again, it goes back the way we have muscle tissues, or we have the 3 layers of the skin. They all have to be understood. And once we find a balance in, we can live 1,000 years without pain. But we have to understand the structure of it. Just because you put a number on it, that age, does not mean you have to suffer, you're going to lose. We have to understand the process of the life, how we came, how we are, and how we go. When we are young, we eat anything: meat, fruits, vegetables, and nuts, and whatever it goes. But you have to understand what it does to you, what's the purpose of it, how it works. And if you understand this, you see life is the same. It looks that you have one muscle for your arm, but in fact, if you look at it, that muscle, you've got 3-4 layers inside that make composition of to make that muscle, and there's a purpose for it. And we see people with the pain, we see people with not being able to walk, backache, headache, whatever you call, and it's a fashion nowadays, you go to these gyms and do high speed, do run, do exercises. And in the whole process, we have not learned to make a homogeneous system for ourselves. How we eat, what we drink, what we emotionally get ourselves involved in, how we look after our physics, how we look after our what we call emotional and physical life. If you find a balance and know how to control it, you can live for years. And if any of them is disturbed, we get into problem. To be in that awareness, it means a lot of things needs to be done the correct way. And one of the essential part of it is the physical. If you can keep your physical body active, regenerating, but the right way, then it doesn't touch your emotion. Then it doesn't touch the way you eat. We change things gradually. We change our habit of eating. We change our habit of emotion. We change our habit of... But when one of them goes wrong, we don't understand why. We run into all sorts of problems. And then when one goes, the rest follows. You got to understand a simple language of life. When you were young, you ate everything. No pain, nothing. The body regenerates. Muscle tissues are regenerated like flies. You damage your muscle tissue. 2 days later, with a bit of exercise, a bit of the medicine, you walk. This doesn't happen when you become 40, 50, and doesn't happen for sure when you're 60, 70, and 80, and 90. Because the body does not produce the material to support your bone structure because you're eating the wrong food or you're consuming the wrong energy. Try to understand how you can keep your physical body active without all this now become fashionable. Every shop you go in China is a food shop. Every other shop in Europe you go is gym, exercising. But the minute you stop, the whole thing falls apart. As long as you have the money to pay for the gym, or as long as you go for a run and think you're good running. Your body has 3 layers of muscles, inner muscle or on the bone. And the most important one is not the one you run to keep it nice and sharp. It's the one which is underneath, which does not need exercise, it needs understanding. And if you keep that correct, you don't have a blood pressure, you won't sure be diabetic, and for sure you will live a very painless, comfortable life. When you start looking at these things, when you start looking, why do I have all the pain? I'm 50, 60, and then when you pass 70, 80, then you breaks down and you age rapidly because you haven't done the right thing. Try to look, if you are in that way, trying to keep to live a free, pain-free life, look in how with simple movement you can fix the small muscles underneath these big ones. 2 things. First of all, they can be active. Secondly, they can regenerate. If your muscle tissue does not regenerate, you are as good as crippled, cannot walk, get off the chair, you can't go. Then you have to learn how to exercise those thin muscles. Then you have to see how you eat. Horses for courses. When you're young, meat, fiber creates protein and the rest of it. The muscle tissue is only created by protein. When you come to middle age, up to 50, 55, yes, you can still take some protein, whatever you do, but now you have to add more understanding of which protein. The way you choose fish, you need fish for this, you need chicken for that, you need beef for that. Now, in the our age, you have to look at the foods which creates fiber generation through the thinner, faster, correct energy absorption by vegetables and grains. Because actually you can take as much egg and meat you like, you still become fragile, pain and rest of it, and you create more inflammation in your body. In the passage of time, even when you're young, body, without you knowing, you eat the kebab and the steak and everything else and meat, you put on the top muscle. But those vegetables you eat, if you know the way of the vegetable, those are more important than the ones to make a big muscle because the foundation is not set properly. If you fix the foundation, the tiny muscles inside keeps the big muscles on the skin and you can work and you have to be regenerated. As much as you need to regenerate the small muscles at the old age, you need to give the big muscles at the younger age. Try to understand exactly what just go and do your own research, see what it fits you, and understand how to live a painless, free life that you don't need to get old, you don't need to fall, you don't need to break your hip and everything else, which you could have prevented by understanding the process of the exercising the right muscles, not letting them die, and eating the right food for the age. And our body at the older age of 50 plus does not absorb that much protein. Does not matter if you eat 10 eggs a day, zero absorption. But you need to look for those who give you protein with fibers, which regenerates the lower muscle tissues. That's where you need it at old age. This the lower muscle issues, then they create a blood pressure, then they create a diabetic and everything else if they're not looked after. Then how you exercise. If you're anything over 50, 55, the only way you're going to walk straight, the only way you're going to walk without a pain, the only way you're going to walk without bending is one set of muscles in your hip, which connects your legs or your hip to the upper body. If that muscle is not looked after, which is a very tiny muscle, but it looks big from outside, inside, if they're not looked after, you lose your mobility. And it doesn't take much. It takes 10 minutes, 5 minutes a day to just keep that muscle in active condition. Then you live a life, painless life, because you're active, then a lot of things happens. To support these kind of fibers, underlying muscle fibers that gives you no inflammation, you can live a life free of pain more or less. Look at what protein materials you eat, for what purpose. And then you make your life. We try to introduce these as ganses to you. In the very near future, we release these things as ganses to you that you can do what we call as energetic material for age. But what I'm trying to bring to you is to start thinking the way the foundation is working towards it. Because when we start using the communication units, we'll feed you that way. That you don't think, oh, it's a miracle I have got access to what we call these things. And no, because its research is done and is there. Till we get there, you have to look after yourself to get rid of all these things which comes with it. The way you do, the way you look after your daily life, it all affects when, how, and the way we are. The way you walk, the way you stand up. You bend forward because this muscle in your hip is pulling, so everything is like a curtain. You know, when you pull the curtain, it just shivers up. You're shivering because more or less one set of muscles on your hip on the back, which holds you straight, gives strength to the leg, and it needs to be stretched and exercised. We don't do. The older we get, the more we sit, this muscle disappears. You go to the toilet, you can't sit. You want to sit on the chair, you can't. It takes time to get up. And little exercises, little change in foods can change your life. And I see a lot of knowledge seekers, especially those of you in their 50s, 60s, 70s, around the knowledge seekers, with different pain and different things. And they say, it's not, it cannot be, because we have to learn the process of how our body was created, how it was put together, the way it was put together, and the way it runs. You can live to the day of death, the week before, 10 days before, and then you finish. That's the time, because a lot of things are not switching on anymore. But you don't need to suffer with pain. If you're over 50, 60, very little things, little vegetables, which actually create those muscles in the body, which if they get damaged, they retain the elasticity, the work of it. The same with the exercise. Go on the internet, learn what exercise is. Very subtle. You don't need to even move from your bed or your chair. Exercises these small muscles underneath, which build the others on top of it. When the foundation is wrong, the top, you get all the pains with the big muscles, can't walk, everything else. And then, because you change your bending position, the digestion system parameters feel the strength changes, you cannot digest other foods, then you become more and more and more back into cycle of pain, suffering, and the rest of it, which does not need to be done. Try to study, especially even the young ones, how you look after the foundation of your bone structure, foundation of your small muscles. Those small muscles are 90% of your pains all your life, because nobody, chiropractors don't teach you this, because you don't go back, they don't make money. Doctors, they don't tell you, because then there's no need for clinic. Search for yourself, and then understand this special muscle in your back, which comes from your end of your spine to your hip, is one of the most important. But it doesn't need any exercise. You can live a painless life, and the rest of it, you walk tall, you walk straight. And then look at the food which repairs muscle tissue. And then you change your emotion and you start a new cycle of life. Very simple things can change a lot of things. Thank you very much. And I hope you find peace physically and emotionally and every other way. See you, some of you, tomorrow in the session, and hopefully we'll see you some next week. And hopefully by the end of the year we'll be all here, that we can see what the new year brings for us with our space friends. Thank you very much.
Interesting times. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Thank you, everyone, for your questions today and attendance. And if there's any questions left over, please carry them till next week, and we'll attempt to address them then. All right, that brings to a close our 613th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. We'll be back again next week on October 30th for the 614th Knowledge Seekers Workshop and our next public teaching workshop. Let me just get the rapidly moving calendar up here, and it will be on Tuesday the 28th. Will be the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace. And that will be with members and support members of the Universal Council who will be presenting that program. And that starts at the 4 p.m. Central European Time. I think that the Universal Time changes somewhere around maybe it's on the Sunday. Well, check your local time. It'll coincide with our 4 p.m., whether it's Central European Summer Time or Central European Time. Okay, again, thank you everyone for attending today's workshop. And we'll go out in our usual manner with the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit. And we'll see you in the next public teaching, perhaps.